Yo, video of the year. Video of the year. Let's give a round of applause, yo. We made it, yo. We exposed these bitch ass devils the whole fucking year, but hey, we made it though. I hope y'all did. You know what I'm saying? If you lost anybody this year, my condolences. I lost somebody last year. Trust me, I understand. So that's the first thing I wanted to do. Second, I want to tell you guys, we could be talking about everything else. What's going on with you, D? And Happy New Year's, man. So you can see that I saw you. All right. So, I know we could be talking about everything else. You know, we could literally still be on the whole Fat Joe situation because motherfuckers is still talking about that. And I find that hilarious because somebody did say something important. They're like, okay, all this beef y'all doing, what's going to change? Y'all going to do anything? Are y'all going to, unite? Y'all going to link up? Y'all going to stop killing each other? You're going to stop letting low cognitive black people have sex with the females and make more loser ass people because, that's the problem with the ghetto. The problem is not the ghetto. It's not. And it's not the government needs to give you money. No, you niggas need to learn how to clean up the street. You need to learn how to pull up your pants and act like a fucking normal person. But you can't do that with retarded sperm. You know what I'm saying? If women keep fucking criminals and jocks, sports athletes have never been known to be smart. Through history, they have never been smart. So there is no way your community could rise with a bunch of fucking sports jocks. You would be dumb as hell. Okay, the criminal is breaking the law. They know it's the law, and they're still breaking. How the fuck are you going to get a genius out of that? So those are the two criteria I hope the black woman works on next year. Stop worrying about fame. Stop worrying about TV. Fuck men that go to work and that actually are smart, the ones that are creating stuff. That's who you need to fuck. You need to stop sleeping with the what's that shit called? The evangelist, we're gonna rub these rocks together, we're gonna fly. Stop fucking them. Okay, you have gave us too many Brother Polites, too many Umar Johnsons, too many Young Pharaohs. You have gave us so much trash. We don't want it no more, cuz we don't want it. Okay. The thugs, the reason that girls are getting fucking beat the fuck up by other girls now, and dudes are getting shot at fucking lunch tables and all types of stuff. We are tired of it. We are not as dumb as people make us out to be. Dumb people couldn't make all this music. Dumb people wouldn't have 50,000 patents. Bro, we're over it. Okay? So that's my message to the sisters for next year. Stop doing it. I would rather all of you have 5 baby daddies that all have a job and that can all take care of their kids, opposed to you having 5 baby daddies that are all locked up and all fucking losers. We're done with it. Here's another thing that needs to change next year. You guys need to realize that music is a spell. That's why people used to sing about love and peace and happiness back in the day, and they were more united. You niggas speak about dumb shit, killing and murder, and you're all fucked in the game. Y'all don't even have heart no more. Y'all don't even fight people. Y'all niggas is such bitch made, you'll shoot somebody from a distance. You won't even put your nuts out there and take an ass whooping or give an ass whooping. Use a bitch. Why? Because most of you are being raised by bitches. Single parent households. Nothing but women in there. So you smell like pussy and you is pussy. And I don't care how much you love your mama. That bitch can die too. Why? Because she's a loser. That's why you're a loser and she made you lose her ass. And that's why there's only 3 alternatives for some reason for people in the ghetto. You either have to sling crack rock, have a wicked jump shot, or sell your soul to the fucking industry and become a puppet. Come on, bro. Like, we have 50,000 patents. Knock it the fuck off. We don't even need these people. We could have been stopped this a long time ago. It's called cut it off. Cut it off and cut it out and stop dealing with it. How much money has Jay-Z gave you niggas? How much money has Young Jeezy gave you niggas? What about all these drug dealers? Frank Lucas, fucking, what's the other nigga? The BMF, Big Meat. How much money have these niggas put in your pocket? Nothing. Stop. Stop. Okay. Now, I know y'all like, damn, why you there? Because I have to. I'm saying that because, like I said, we could be going down that road. We could be going down that road. We could be talking about, you know, what Charleston White said about Angela Reese, or is it Angel Reese? I don't care. We could be talking about, like I said, the Fat Joe thing. We could be talking about, you know, the visas. We could be talking about all that different stuff. No. Always remember, this page is here for a reason. I am here to help y'all. I keep telling people, God sent me to y'all. And people be like, nah, you don't believe in Spook Man. I never said nothing about a Spook Man. I'm talking about higher thought. Higher thought sent me down here to help y'all because y'all don't think. It doesn't matter what you're saying out of your mouth. It doesn't matter how many soulless cocksuckers you want to subscribe and be fans of and listen and follow. You notice your group has went nowhere. So that means from Kevin Hart talking to you to whoever you want to say talking to you, Tyler Perry, Denzel Washington, Michael Jordan, you motherfuckers have not went anywhere since the 60s. So that's a clear indication. Cut the TV off. And if you found this page, you're a lucky motherfucker. Maybe you should listen. Yeah, I know I'm a little rough. I know that, but I don't believe my people need to be soft spoken to anymore. They've had that for 30 fucking years. You've had that for 30 fucking years. Farrakhan speaks soft to you niggas. Martin Luther King spoke soft to you niggas. Malcolm X spoke soft to you niggas. What's that dude? Benjamin Crump speaks soft to you niggas. The gray-haired dude, Cornel West, he speaks soft to you niggas. Everybody speaks soft to y'all. We don't go anywhere. I don't believe that's how my people work. I believe you can tell by how they act in the streets. We just need to take away the guns and knives and let y'all duke it out. You need a good ass whooping. That's what it is. And whoever beats everybody, that's when we jump that motherfucker. Swear to God. And we let the old heads come out with belts. Beat the shit out of you. Swell your face all up. Because that's what a lot of my brothers and sisters need to learn. You ain't tough when everybody's beating you. The biggest, buffest dude on the street that's blacker than the gang. You're not tough when every other group is beating you. We got third world country people over here doing better than us. How the fuck did that even happen? That happens when bad DNA nuts in a woman and creates children. These people, if the women are already airheads, why the fuck would I want her with one? And then what is this child going to be? A fucking loser, like most of them are. Most of them stank. Don't comb their hair, can't pull their pants up, talk stupid than a motherfucker. What you think that is? Because the TV? No, that's design. You're a born loser. You're going to die a fucking loser. That's 90% of these motherfuckers walking around right now. I'm not saying that to be rude. I'm saying that to be honest. The black woman needs to put her womb on hold for about 20 years. You don't get to choose shit. We're going to have to take this back to the old school where your dad marries you off. But you got to have a real father. You can't have one of these bitch-ass niggas that, you know, sell dope and shit and then let you marry the dope dealer. No. Your womb needs to be controlled by knowledgeable black men for about 20 years. You don't need to say shit because, first of all, you're a helpmate anyway. And all that black bone of this, the community is a fucking joke because all you got to do is slap that motherfucker real hard. She'll remember exactly who she is. She's never been tough. She's just like all women on earth and with their group of men. You're not tough at all. You're allowing her to run her mouth like she's tough. She's not. She's actually a fucking gang goofy that needs to sit her ass down because she don't know shit. Black women out here still talking about racism, just like pro-blacks. They don't know shit. Racism been dead. Niggas kill more niggas than white people. It's a fact. You've never seen the Klan in fucking the ghetto. So who's killing the people in the ghetto? Y'all. And when we hear these little goofy stories about some random black dude I mean, to be honest, if it's not that situation like old boy in jail that got beat to death, because that shit, I hope they lock all them punk motherfuckers up. Real shit, forever. Them niggas need the book thrown at them because that shit is recorded. We seen all of it. We seen you kicking that man, choking that man, trying to, like, no, hell no. This shit shouldn't even be, what's that new word that all you bitch motherfuckers use? Allegedly. It shouldn't even be an allegedly. Motherfucker, I have you on video. You lucky that we do this honorable shit because I would round up a group of niggas and we'd meet every one of you. Yeah, we need a fair one. I need a fair one. I don't care how tough you police think you is. I need a fair one because I'm going to break your motherfucking face. That was some evil shit that y'all did. You're not supposed to do shit like that. That's dirty. But, and the man was handcuffed. Like, y'all some bitches. But I say that to say this. that stuff wouldn't be going on, and we wouldn't have a lot of brothers getting locked up and having to go through them situations if the DNA was strong, because the mental would be right. We wouldn't have these problems. So, like I said, because I ain't gonna go on them runs with you, but we are gonna go on a run. So you can see from the cover, George Bush Sr. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna watch. I'm gonna cut and paste. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be talking as we're doing, but we're gonna watch like 37 minutes. We're gonna watch 37 minutes, and remember, this is just chapter 1. This is just chapter 1. Did I ask you to fucking talk? No, I did not. You better calm your ass down. So anyway, this is just chapter 1. We're gonna get into this shit, and I'm gonna show y'all how far back the swamp goes. Because people want to keep saying, you know, since the conception of America, shut the fuck up. If you really don't have no information and all you can do is whine like a victim, because the conquistadors and the Arabs got more slaves than anybody. Oh, and the African. They all got more slaves than Paleface. Paleface got the smallest amount of slaves. So I don't know who these people is blowing their head up, talking about, oh, evil white man, he burned, he lynched, you know. First of all, half of y'all niggas was hoes, because I don't believe none of that shit. I don't. You want me to believe a nigga that was the size of Warren Sapp was running from a little punk ass white boy because of a whip that you cannot prove? You only have drawings. You have no literal proof of a whip hitting anybody. Oh, what about that one guy? Nigga, for some reason, it's just one guy. Y'all keep promoting this dude with the zigzag whips on his back. Nigga, there's just one guy. Like, okay, one guy. Wow, okay. There's just one fucking guy. Why you keep showing the same fucking picture? Because you ain't got no more. That's why. But why would all that be there? Why would all this stuff be here to keep you in fear and keep you confused and keep you arguing with each other and not knowing which way to go? Why would that be? Maybe because this is deeper than you or me. And that's what we're going to deal with right now. So, let's watch and let's learn about who was in power, who was in office, and where the deep state actually starts. It has nothing to do with fucking what's that dude's name? J. Edgar Hoover and all that stuff. No, that's not where it starts. No, it doesn't. It starts with the fucking agent. Okay, now let's go. People want to talk about Agent Orange and shit. Who the fuck gave you that? Democrats gave you that shit. Just like I heard a song from the Beatnuts earlier, and you could hear Eminem talking about killing a couple conservatives. How is that street? How is that like black? What are you talking about? Kill a couple conservatives? We ain't never even talked like that. So what do you mean by that? Are you a Democrat shill and you're trying to keep us over there and dumb and weak and stupid? Probably. And don't worry, I got some photos for after this shit too that are some doozies.
On January 30th, 1976, President Gerald Ford, a man who had never won a presidential election, appointed George H.W. Bush as the 11th director of CIA, a man who, on paper anyways, had never worked for the agency. To this day, mainstream histories and Bush family hagiographies take this appointment at face value with little skepticism or question. Otherwise respected historians and biographers simply report that George H.W. Bush, or as he was known to his friends, Poppy Bush, a former congressman from Texas and ambassador to both the UN and the People's Republic of China under Nixon, was for whatever reason chosen by President Ford, Nixon's successor, to be his spy chief in the last year of his presidency.
So Bush Sr. is a CIA agent. I've said this before. Everybody just doesn't comment. They just watch my video and keep on moving. Promoting what? Fat Joe beef. Fat Joe gets locked up. On the record, he calls himself white. He literally labeled himself white. But this is what you rather talk about. You rather talk about dumb shit. dumb faggot shit that is not going to help you, instead of listening to somebody who is showing you what it is. But I told you this before this video. I had already told you. Like, I seen the Candace Owens, she's talking to an ex-FBI agent. He's the one who told us. So nobody cares about this type shit. They don't give a fuck. They just want to keep playing around. Sexy Red should have been canceled, bro. It doesn't take the industry to cancel her. It takes you. All y'all got to do is say, no, bitch, we do not accept your shit. You're not going. No. Same thing with all these female rappers. Oh, it was cool when the men did it. It wasn't cool then. You guys just didn't know anything. There's no Ethernet yet. Motherfuckers is arguing with men in the 90s and the 80s talking about bitches ain't shit. There is no Ethernet. You guys can't get information like that, so you don't know any information like that. So why the hell would you blame a group of people at a time that didn't even have access to this information? They would not know. But y'all, in the time that we're in, we have this information. So how the hell are women out here like this when we have the information? It's already here. Because people don't want to win. They want their cake and eat it as they're getting shot in the head. That's what it is. That's the truth. Everybody wants their cake and eat it as they're getting shot in the head. You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, the music's going to shit. You can pretty much tell all celebrities are faggots or bitch-made people. I don't even know how they called this the Generation Alpha. That doesn't make any sense. This generation had more faggots and more bitch-made men in it than ever. We had Tekashi 6ix9ine. He's an alpha. Y'all literally had your food administrator was a cross-dresser. Y'all alpha? Come on, bro. The white dude's been lying about these fucking generations since Generation Y. He's been lying about this shit ever since then when he changed it to millennials. What the fuck is a millennial? No, this is Gen Y. Because they're going to be the only ones asking questions. Most people aren't. Most people that are not from that time ain't going to ask shit. And that's why people don't. But CIA agent the whole time. Nobody cares. For some weird reason, he's a CIA agent from 76 to 77. His nickname is Poppy. What is Poppy known for? Poppy seed. Poppy like Puerto Ricans, like Coke. It's like that. I just find that funny that that's his name. That's funny. That's your nickname, Poppy? Interesting.
Not the Secretary of State, a position that Bush had been prepared for by his apparent diplomatic appointments, not the Energy Secretary, a position that would fit his public background as an independent oil tycoon, but instead appointed as the director of CIA. The CIA, a notoriously insular and rarefied organization, had not had an outsider as director since the Kennedy and Johnson presidencies, when businessman John McCone was appointed as director by JFK in late '61 to replace the ubiquitous Allen Dulles after the whole Bay of Pigs fiasco. John McCone, largely a lame duck director that never truly had control of his agency, was eventually replaced by a Navy man, William Rayborn, by LBJ, before quickly
CIA, LBJ, appoints a military guy. Everybody knows the military are zombie slaves. Everybody knows that. That's what they do. They don't have no control over their shit. So from 65 to 66, why would they do that? Isn't that all around civil rights?
Opting to return to the CIA to their original masters, in the form of elevating agency veteran Richard Helms to the top spot in the last half of his presidency. Although official histories portray CIA Director Bush as a John McCone-type outsider, the reality is almost certainly the complete opposite, as I'll argue throughout this documentary. Future President George H.W. Bush's connections to the CIA date back as far as the early 1950s. Although he was likely tapped as a young man out of Yale for intelligence work.
Now, why would that be? You guys know civil rights start in 1954. Okay, so this guy's been around the CIA since the 50s. It just so happens, right? It just so happens. This motherfucker becomes president. But it also just so happens that he's the VP when Ronald Reagan gets shot. Out of everybody to be the VP when Reagan gets shot, because I told you they set that shit up. For anybody to be the VP, it would be a CIA ex-director. New World Order.
Bush would make his name known during the anti-Castro operations, starting with the Bay of Pigs and remaining an agency asset throughout the CIA's Caribbean operations in the early 60s. During this period, Poppy Bush served as an emissary of sorts between the Yankee world of Wall Street, embodied by his father Prescott Bush, and his well-established friends, and the world of the cowboys in the rising state of Texas, dominated by the energy sector, independent wildcat billionaires, and a private intelligence web to be tapped by Langley. Understanding and deconstructing George H.W. Bush's pilgrimage to Texas and his rise as a transplant cowboy helped.
Remember, his son has the most executions in American history. His son. Once again, he's talking about this cowboy shit. Okay, his son has the most executions in history. Weapons of mass keep going.
Helps illuminate the national reorientation that was taking place during the 1960s and ultimately into the 1970s. So today, more than ever, welcome to Eyes Wide Open, and let's roll that intro.
That's another thing I forgot to say. Yo, shout out to Eyes Wide Open. That's his the name of the guy's page. Pretty cool stuff. I can't wait till he comes out with the next chapters. But let's go.
I'll never apologize for the United States of America. Ever. I don't care what the facts are. I will lead her. I will do my level best to stand up for freedom and democracy around the world by keeping the United States of America strong and by keeping our eyes wide open as we welcome change in the world, but keeping our eyes wide open.
The early 1960s marked a period of intense institutional change within the United States at the highest levels of the ruling class. The historic power center, since the end of the Civil War, the early 1960s marked a period of intense institutional change within the United States at the highest levels of the ruling class.
The early 1960s. So not in the middle of the 1960s. Because, you know, the Civil Rights Bill gets passed in 65, doesn't fully get into fruition until 67. But for some reason, all these aristocrats and all these motherfuckers this is their best decade. Their best decade for some reason is the decade that the blacks supposedly get free.
Niggas still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. All right.
Now, cruise down common sense with me. Would it be their best year? Because, I mean, their best decade because they got women to go to work. They got these blacks to integrate into their society. So now all the work they're doing is going towards these upper elites. Basketball, football. Remember, the integration happens completely in the 60s. So how much money did these motherfuckers boost up?
The historic power center, since the end of the Civil War in the northeastern states, was being challenged by a rising order in the American Southwest. The increasing U.S. domestic dependence on oil reserves in the Sun Belt, mostly in Texas, and the subsequent establishment of massive defense contracts in the vast deserts of the West, marked the ascendancy of the Southwest as the new promised land for post-war American capitalism. This transition period southward has been colloquially termed the Yankee Cowboy War, or in other terms, a temporary rearranging of institutional power away from the northeastern Yankee class towards the southwestern cowboy class. Whitney Webb, in her book One Nation Under Blackmail, explores a concept first described by Kirkpatrick Sale in his book Power Shift. Sale.
Am I mad at the South getting some bread? No. But who are we talking about? It's not like they shifted the power to the South and then black people came up. Nah, who did they give the power back to? This is what I mean about that Dixiecrat shit, because I told y'all the Bushes have never been Republicans. They have always been for the left. That's why they're the only two motherfucking Republicans at John Lewis' funeral. Bro, they exposed themselves. They exposed themselves. So it's Bush Sr. who brought the power back down south. To who? The Klansmen. Not the conservative. The Democrat conservative. Remember, conservatives are about traditional values. So if you're a Democrat conservative, what traditional values are you into? Black code, blacks on the bottom, whites on top, Sweet Polly Cornbread can't date outside the race, Little Jimmy can't date outside the race, but it's not just for fucking black people. You ain't never seen a Bush with a Hispanic neither. You ain't never seen him with an Asian neither. Neither one of them.
Describes a new emerging U.S. power center after World War II, and he calls it the quote-unquote southern rim of the United States. Or as Whitney describes it, quote, southern states, portions of the Midwest, and the Sun Belt, a large expanse that stretched from Florida to California. She continues, quote, the rim's ascendancy was connected to the opening up of vast real estate opportunities, related in part to tourism and retirement, to oil and gas industries, and to the delirious growth of defense-related industries under the new Cold War paradigm, end quote. This process, from the northeastern power center towards the southern rim, although subterfuge and easily missed, was by no means a peaceful transfer of power. As we move forward in our timeline, these cowboy interests will crystallize, firstly, in the post-Bay of Pigs Cuba.
This makes a lot of sense. This makes a lot of sense because he said Bush Sr. had been dealing with the CIA since the 50s. Who do we say is responsible for knocking off Kennedy? I'm just saying.
I'm out sleep.
I'm just saying.
These niggas still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. All right.
See, this swamp thing started a long time ago.
Operations, and then in the wars in Southeast Asia, and finally in South and Central America in the 80s. George H.W. Bush, the future quote-unquote outsider director of the CIA, represented a key piece of this reorientation as a Yankee wonder kid posing successfully, albeit, as cowboy royalty. So,
what they mean by that?
These niggas still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. All right.
Who gamed him? Because Bushes are not Yankees. That's not true. And I understand what this man is saying, but he don't understand what he's saying. Who gamed him? Come on now, don't all speak at once. Remember, him and his son both went there. Who gamed him? There's no Yale in Texas. Just like there's no Yale Skull and Bones fraternity in Texas. So when he speaks about these Yankees, him being a Yankee disguising as a cowboy, who put that shit in his head? Who put him on the mission?
These niggas still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. All right.
See, the white guy is still trying to mix. Because I know how they think. They think, oh no, the whole system's corrupt. No, it ain't. You talking about people. You're not talking about policies. You're not. There's nothing wrong with Republican policies. And the only reason blacks don't like it is because they broke. If they had money, they would love Republican policies. You know, like when y'all had your own towns, 50,000 patents, when you could sustain yourself. Why wouldn't you want more money, more economical, movement? Like, why not? Tax the rich. Why the hell would you want to be broke? Who put you in this mind state of wanting to be a broke motherfucker?
These niggas are still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. All right.
If I was a Klansman, I would always want the slaves to love poverty. I wouldn't want them to love success.
So let's start at the ground floor with the Bush family themselves. Because to understand future CIA director and future President George H.W. Bush, we must first look at his father, Connecticut Senator Prescott Bush. Born in Columbus, Ohio in 1895, Prescott Bush came from an old, established Northeastern Anglo-German family that could trace their lineage back to pre-revolutionary America. Prescott's father, Samuel Bush, Poppy Bush's grandfather, was...
Hold up. Hold the fuck up.
These niggas are still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. All right.
He just said so much in a little bit of time. Bushes is Jews. Now, most Indians, Aboriginals have been doing studying. We know who started the minstrel show, the Jews. Just like Hollywood, the Jews. But hold up. He said he could trace his bloodline before the Revolutionary War. So that means the Bushes are a part of them original dirty ass motherfuckers that came over here.
These niggas are still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. All right.
How that bloodline stay pumping that long? How did it stay pumping that long and so long that it ended up equating 2 presidents? Oh, fuck all that. I said, how did that family, how they make it that far? I don't know. I think he just told us in a way.
Northeastern Anglo-German family that could trace their lineage back to pre-revolutionary America.
I'm sorry. I fucked up. I scratched that reverse. I didn't mean to call them a small hat. I didn't mean to say that. I meant Anglo-German. Okay. That's even worse. Because who are the original palefaces that came over here? The Anglos. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows why white people today try to lie and say that they're a part of the Great Migration and not a part of the original people, the 13 colonies that came over here. Why? Because they don't want to be related to these motherfuckers. Some of them are. Some of them aren't. But that's why. They don't want to be related to them. So how did the Anglo be here before the Revolutionary War and then travel all the way to being an oil runner, president, CIA director?
Still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. All right.
I mentioned they part of the Skull and Bones too, right?
Prescott's father, Samuel Bush, Poppy Bush's grandfather, was a steel company president who during World War I served as the chief of ordnance, small arms, and ammunition of the War Industries Board, a pretty substantial position within the growing military industry.
So you're telling me the Bushes are responsible for the bullets and weaponry we went into World War I with? Wow.
These niggas are still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. All right.
This family sounds very fucking corrupt, and they sound like, you know, somebody put them there. I mentioned it was part of Skull and Bones, right?
There, Sam Bush helped coordinate steel shipments to major weapons manufacturers during the Great War. Although a successful businessman before the interwar years, the Bush family remained big fish in a relatively small pond, still relegated to the foundries and factories of the future Rust Belt. It would be Sam Bush's son, Prescott, the father of the future CIA director and president, that would bring the Bush family out of the Midwest and towards the upper echelons of Yankee power.
He was put on that mission.
These niggas still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches.
Niggas is doing too much. Niggas is doing too much. I said Black Americans have 50,000 patents. I didn't say one nigga. I didn't say that. I didn't say, oh, it's just one guy responsible for all this shit. No. I said it was a gang of them. All right. Oh, what about George Washington Carver with 300 patents for the peanut? And like, that's one finding and 300 patents wrapped around one finding. That's not him finding that, and then at the same time, he makes the Peanut University, which ends up creating Skippy and Jeff and Peter Pan, and he's running all like, bro, no, hell no. No. This shit is going too well, too swell. It's too neat. It's too neat. It's like you getting the fun, the fucking World War I with the steel joint. Okay, then your son ends up getting real high up in political power, and he's cool with the Yankees. He went to Connecticut. Okay, Yale's in Connecticut. Holla if you hear me. Always remember who you're watching and what I do here. It's critical thinking, but I'm also the puzzle placer. I mean, the piece to the puzzle placer. I'm putting this shit together for you so you can see it. How would he get his kids in these fraternities? He would have to go first. Okay. For some reason, the George Bush Sr. and Jr. are raised in Texas, but they're both a part of the Skull and Bones. How did they get that hookup? Through their daddy. I mean, through Grandpa. Grandpa had the hookup. This is how George Bush Jr. can be a cokehead, a C student, alcoholic, and still get to go to Yale, because it had nothing to do with education. It had to do with connection.
Otherwise known, of course, as Wall Street. Prescott Sheldon Bush followed not in his father's footsteps.
Hold up.
Prescott, the father of the future CIA director and president, that would bring the Bush family out of the Midwest and towards the upper echelons of Yankee power, otherwise known, of course, as Wall Street. Prescott Sheldon Bush followed not in his father's footsteps, but his grandfather's, James Smith Bush, by attending Yale College in 1913. There, Prescott would join the Skull and Bones Society. Bush by
Still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches.
So his father or grandfather, whatever. His father, Prescott Bush's father, I think, funds the steel for World War I, for the weapons. Okay. Prescott ends up capitalizing on Wall Street thanks to his grandfather, who was at Yale first. So Skull and Bones in their family goes all the way back to the beginning of this institution. We're talking about when Franklin D. Roosevelt is alive, because remember, all these colleges, all these Ivy Leagues are built off of heroin money. All of your colleges, all your fucking, oh, you're smart now. All these places were built off of heroin money because it's the old China trade. So now you kind of understand why fraternities haze and devil worship and it's so corrupt, because all these universities are corrupt. They're all based off drug money. But if you get caught with one piece of crack, that's 5 years. They're beyond the pale. We can't do nothing with them. Meanwhile, they're up here acting snippety. I'm smarter than you. I'm better than you. Off of fucking dope money. And then you can hear niggas already, see, that's why I hustle. Dog, y'all ain't built no college. Y'all ain't built shit. Like, I don't want to hear you. You're not organized. And as you see, this shit is like what I say. By the time you catch up to them, they'll be years ahead of you.
Attending college in 1913. There, Prescott would join the Skull and Bones Society, the oldest and most prestigious of Yale's constellation of secret fraternal orders. Prescott's spy president's son, George H.W., and presidential grandson, George W., would both later be inducted into the secret club. And of course, it's no secret that Skull and Bones was a popular entryway for future spooks into the cult of intelligence.
What did we just say?
Niggas are still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches.
I'm one of the best to ever do this shit because I put people in positions to share their information that I had been sharing. All they're doing is just making it grander. They're just making it grander looking. So what you just learned is all of these alphabet things are flooded with these fraternity motherfuckers. All of them are. And now black people should give me a round of applause, or American Negroes, or Abos, whatever the fuck you want to call yourself, should be giving me a round of applause because I told you all your dumb shit comes from the Boule. And didn't also I tell you that the Boule makes fun of the Pan-African? I showed you in all of the black movies from Don't Be a Menace to CB4 and so on and so on. Why? Why do they make fun of the things that they're doing? Like they created Pan-Africanism. They wanted you to worry about everybody else, even though we robbing you right here. All your taxes are getting clipped right here. That ain't got nothing to do with the African. Ain't got nothing to do with the Jamaican. None of them motherfuckers, unless they're here. And they come here and they still don't link up with you. And they don't even understand. You're all being robbed. But you guys, like, they have Chinatown. Like, y'all could have been made that. Y'all could have been made Negro Town, or Negro Land, or Niggerville. I don't give a fuck what you want to call it. All I'm saying is, it could have been done. But what spell are you in? Even though really spells ain't real, right? Just believe in God and the devil. Another spell. But no, spells ain't real, right? Who are these people that are casting them on you? You see the skull and crossbones. You see the skull and crossbones, which is honestly some old pirate shit. And it really means death. That's what it means. It means death. You know what I'm saying? And the motherfuckers be like, holy shit, it showed it. Everybody was afraid of those ships that had the skull and crossbones on it because they knew those are warships. Those are people that want to rob your booty both ways, of your cash and your ass. Why would the pale-faced monarch behind that? And then why would you think that they weren't pillaging people? Central Intelligence Agency, FBI is bad, but everybody knows the CIA is way worse. This motherfucker will act like they're your homie. Do deals with you. Kill motherfuckers with you. All types of shit these motherfuckers can do. They can sniff coke. They can shoot heroin. They can do all types of shit. The CIA is super duper undercover. Remember, feds only come through after they got 5 years of information. Who'd they get it from?
Niggas are still fucking talking. Niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches.
Always remember I told you that secret too. The CIA is created before the FBI. And who did I tell you created the CIA? The 33rd president, Truman.
Prescott was instrumental in building not only the Bush family's legacy at Yale, but also the mythology of the Skull and Bones Society itself. He allegedly, according to Bonesman lore anyways, took part in the raiding of Native American hero Geronimo's tomb in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, to steal his skull, which
still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches.
And you Indians don't realize why I am the sachem that I am. You Aboriginals don't realize why I am the shaman that I am. You really don't get it. So the Democrats ain't never been your friend, right? Indian, right? Right? Remember, they're Republicans. No. They've even admitted that they bridged into there on purpose. Prescott did. They're not from there. They're from the Midwest. They from hardworking people. They're like, oh, now the Republicans are the ones that have money. No. Who got to spend $1.5 billion on a presidential campaign? Oh, she owed 20. That don't mean shit. Who got to do it? Who got all the celebrities who have all the money?
These niggas are still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. All right.
They be like, oh, well, shit. Geronimo don't look like y'all. What did we learn on this page about spells, wizardry, sorcery, and casting? Well, we learned one can say that something is something that it's not. It does not matter that Geronimo don't look like us. This is a ritual. He don't have the real, you know what I'm saying? It's like he don't have the real anyway. It's not like, oh, to this day, every skull and bone person, you know, at their house with their own personal shrine has a piece of the skull. No. They replica it. You know what I'm saying? In their house. They replica it on their shirt. The skull and bone on their shirt is not the actual skull and bone. So it's like they replica it. They will create one. It's a ritual. So what is the ritual that the Paleface is doing? One of the oldest fraternities here. What is the ritual that they're doing? They wanted a Indian warrior's skull. Because remember, this is the mythos behind Prescott Bush. And here's another weird thing. Why would it be a bush? Just because their grandfather went there don't mean he was the Don Maker of the fucking fraternity. I don't mean that. But for some weird reason, a family that would end up having big oil and at the same time have two presidents. The rumor of who took the skull of Geronimo would happen to be one of these bushes.
According to Bonesman lore anyways, took part in the raiding of Native American hero Geronimo's tomb in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, to steal his skull, which remains.
Why? Why was Geronimo in Oklahoma? Where is Black Wall Street? What does Oklahoma mean? Who took away the Redskins and made the Commanders? See, I can go with this in so many ways. I'll flip your head upside down. I can go with this in so many ways. Like I keep telling you, Detroit Red, Red Fox, Big Red. You ain't never met no motherfucking other people on earth that have been represented by red, but one group. Red Bones. Red Bones got thick lips and thick hips. Don't look nothing like a white mix. I know what Chris Brown and fucking Alicia Keys look like. I know what black and white mix look like, punk.
Remains the enduring perverse relic of the order to this day. It should be noted that the authenticity of the alleged Geronimo skull in the Skull and Bones tomb remains in question.
Of course, it's called mythos, allegory. It ain't gotta be fucking real for them to be really fucking over my...
Still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roach. roaches.
So the Willie Lynch letter, right? There was a big argument a few years ago. It's real, it's not real. And some of us, not all of us, but some of us had enough wisdom to come to the conclusion it don't have to have really been a person. He don't have to really have existed. Look at the play, and is the spell working? And we concluded that it is. Old versus young, smart versus dumb, light versus dark, man versus woman, adult versus child. We see the play. Funny use of words, huh? Play, act, script.
But the story of Prescott and his buddies digging up a grave in Oklahoma is considered real by historians. Prescott ultimately graduated from Yale in 1918 and served at the very tail end of World War I.
Why are we giving this motherfucker props if he's really just admitting to be a fucking grave robber? So, can I go to Ulysses Grant's tomb and take his fucking leg? Take his arm and shit? Can I do that? What about George Washington? Can I, like, kick open the fucking mausoleum and post this motherfucker up? Like, got his hands crossed and shit. Can I do that?
In an Army artillery unit. By 1919, Prescott was back in America, where he would truly cement the Bush name into the annals of the Northeastern aristocracy. Now, it's no secret that Prescott Bush was considered by some of the old Brahmin families of New York and New England as a somewhat mediocre man whose only accomplishment was in marrying well. Although murmurs of his mediocrity were quickly extinguished by his cunning and indiscriminate abilities as a Wall Street banker.
How'd that happen? How'd that happen?
These niggas are still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing? Fucking roaches.
This is where it gets deep. I thought Small Hat runs the banking. I'm going to say that again. I thought small hats run banking. How is Prescott Bush, Bush's, mind you, a fucking Wall Street wizard? Play on words. How? How is he so good with numbers? And then his descendants, the CIA age, when you're talking about, is a C average student. Like, nobody even said that, George Bush Sr. was like, oh, he's just super smart. Anglo-German. Annie Frank. The Franks. Her last name. Annie's not even her real name. And Annie damn sure isn't Jewish. Anglo-German. What I tell you that them small hats was that came from Germany.
These niggas are still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing? Fucking roaches.
I'll give you another checkmate that you know that they Jews. Who's the ones that did the most killing of the Arabs?
These niggas are still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing? Fucking roaches.
I thought the Klan was dealing with Islam. They over here. They not no Arabs. That's paleface. But who got the most Arabian or Arab blood on their hands? The Bushes. Weapons of mass destruction. Desert Storm. The Bushes. Who led their third cousin to killing Saddam Hussein? No, I'm sorry. Bin Laden. The Bushes. Who's in the oil running? Who stole all their oil? The Bushes.
You niggas still fucking talking? You niggas still breathing? Fucking roaches? Alright.
This is incredible. It's fucking devious as shit, but it's incredible.
It is undeniable that Prescott Bush married his way into his position in the upper echelons of American capital. In 1921, Prescott married George H.W. Bush's mother, Dorothy Walker, the daughter of renowned banker and Eastern old boy George Herbert Walker, who would shortly after the marriage be appointed president of W.A. Harriman & Co. Bank.
Walker.
Niggas are still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. Alright.
Let me ask you a funny question. What are small hats back in the day? When you read the story about them going to Egypt, what are they described as? Vagabonds, dwellers, walkers. Walker.
Harriman & Co. was, of course, the namesake bank of the Democratic Harriman family, the illustrious...
Oh, wait, Demis, the Demis, what?
You niggas are still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. Alright.
How can I believe these are some real Republicans when they've been indoctrinated? They are married in to the Democrat banking system. So, excuse me. When they say black people did the best, I mean, not the best, but they did really good under George Bush Jr. Why? If his banking is Democrat, and all blacks are Democrats, and I just raped all this fucking oil and just killed all these motherfuckers up. Why wouldn't all Democrats benefit? Remember, they're saying that blacks, they're just separating them as a group. They're saying, oh man, blacks did great under Bush Jr. Well, why? Well, why the hell would they do that? Why? Because they Democrats. The Democrats, the Bushes are related to the Democrat bankers. New York, California, these big ass places, yo. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of banking. A lot of bread. Don't they run DC also? Ain't that where the swamp at? Man, I can't wait till I get to these pictures. Shit.
Railroad tycoons. Even before he was hired to the firm by his father-in-law in 1926, Prescott Bush had been classmates with Roland Harriman at Yale and had been a member of Skull and Bones alongside both Roland and his older and probably more famous brother, W. Averell Harriman, during his time there. W. Averell Harriman, of course, would go on to become a titan within Democratic Party politics, serving as President Truman's Secretary of Commerce in the crucial post-war period from 1946 to 48.
Oh, really? He served for who? He served for who?
Of course, would go on to become a titan within Democratic Party politics, serving as President Truman's Secretary of Commerce in the crucial post-war period from 1946 to 48.
So he worked for the 33rd president?
Niggas still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches.
Don't try to run now. Don't try to run now. If you've been on this mission with me and watched damn near all my videos, especially what I'm talking about, don't run now. Don't fucking run now, because I got somebody putting all the pictures together and the little writing on top, and he got the little good narration. Don't run now. Don't run now. Remember, I'm from the streets. I'm a wild ignorant. I'm supposed to be ignorant, right? I'm not supposed to know nothing, but for some reason, I can say it any way that I want. But it's still being said right because I'm showing you the lineup. I'm showing you the lineup. Motherfuckers, nah. People that believe in, you know what I'm saying, American Negroes or Indians, they're fucking crazy. We know more than you, bitch, motherfucker. I can guarantee that shit. We know more than you, and we teach harder than you, and we teach further than you. Little simple, dumb motherfuckers. Not my crew, not my audience. Peace and love to y'all. Happy New Year's. We going in, we going out with a motherfucking bang.
And would be elected one term. Averell Harriman would remain a key foreign policy advisor to presidents all the way up to Lyndon Johnson. Harriman and Co., the bank.
The reason I'm whistling this shit because it's like, remember, Kennedy got clipped. So it don't matter how anybody feels about Kennedy. Kennedy got clipped. Kennedy is basically like, you know what I'm saying? They try to put him in, see if it worked, you know, going off his dad and shit with his fucking, I forgot his dad had some other type business. It wasn't just bootlegging. He was doing some other shit. Like this nigga like had mad connections. That's how you know it's all linked up. Like it's all linked up. He had mob ties and a couple other things. But that's how you know it's all linked up. Who the fuck are letting them niggas do what they do? Who letting them, you know, run all the bootleg and beat people up and fucking extort people and win court cases that they know they're guilty in? Like, who was doing all that? Though, you know, we ain't gonna separate them. Remember, they became white people.
Became a veritable meeting ground for future top Yankee bureaucrats. Russ Baker, in his fantastic book Family of Secrets, which I'm pulling extensively from for this history, notes that alongside the Harriman brothers and Prescott Bush, future Truman Secretary of Defense Robert Lovett was also a partner at the firm. Interestingly, the Lovett-Harriman connection actually went back one generation earlier. The Lovett family from Texas had connected with the Yankee Harrimans through Robert Lovett's father, none other than Robert S. Lovett Sr., of course, who could have guessed, who had actually been the president of the railroads owned by E.H. Harriman, the Harriman brothers' father. Therefore, it was likely through this familial connection through the fathers that, say, a man like Robert Lovett Jr., Truman's future defense secretary, got his job earlier on at Harriman & Co. Bank in the 1930s. Essentially, in other words, nepotism ran rampant throughout these New York banking circles. I also have a personal theory, and I believe that Robert Lovett, who was a fellow banker of Brown Brothers with Prescott Bush, may have been the one to suggest to the elder Bush to send his son, George, out to Odessa, Texas, after he graduated from Yale in 1948.
You know what? You know what's so wild? So the Bushes really ain't from Texas. They're actually from Connecticut. But he said that it's this zombie-looking motherfucker that probably sent him out there so they can get started on this oil business. But it's like, he said the connection was through the dads. That makes perfect sense because, you know, I think back in the day it's just like today also, you know what I'm saying? I think there was, you know, park, you know, cookouts and shit. And, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure the kids had met each other before. So it's like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it would be so ironic that the kids, you know, would go to the same school and be, you know, friends. Like, well, no, it's not ironic, motherfucker. It's like the dads put this shit together. That's pretty deep.
George to Odessa, Texas, after he graduated from Yale in 1948. This, to me, is the clearest link between Prescott Bush, I'll remind you, an arch Yankee, and the state of Texas, a state that he otherwise had little relation to. That's my theory anyways. What's important to note about the high-profile names at Brown Brothers Harriman is that this was the world that Prescott Bush was inducted into through his opportune marriage into the very upper crust of the elite, the true creme de la creme of the American ruling class in New York City.
So maybe that's why, like they say, the Bush's mama was so ugly, you know what I'm saying? No offense, but it's like, nigga, I don't think he got with her because she was fine. I think he got with her for the business. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Prescott being a Skull and Bone, I'm pretty sure he had agendas, objectives, you know what I'm saying, things that he's supposed to do, because that's the highest form of education at the end of school, you know what I'm saying? It's college. Okay, so this is his fraternity. All right. I'm pretty sure that, you know, besides all the weird shit, they got to have some type of information. You know what I'm saying? How did they get Baphomet? How did they get that? It's like they would have to have some type of information that they're sharing. So it's like, maybe that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's one of their secrets and shit. Yo, you get you a bitch whose dad got money. You know what I'm saying? I don't fucking know how they talk, but I'm like, yo, maybe they just as grimy as the people that they put on the streets. Because if we're saying that pimping and hoeing and drug dealing and gangbanging and killing is all really some old boule shit passed down to y'all, now it makes sense, because maybe that's what's happening in these back rooms. Maybe they teaching who can be the grimiest of the grimiest. You know what I'm saying? Aleister Crowley, y'all. Aleister Crowley, y'all. You know what I'm saying? This motherfucker is doing, you know, little kid rape sex rituals and shit. Aleister Crowley, y'all. So it's like, fuck these they man.
In 1931, after the great stock market crash, Harriman & Co. merged with fellow Wall Street white shoe bank, Brown Brothers, to form the now infamous Brown Brothers Harriman. Brown Brothers Harriman is maybe most known today as one of the key U.S. banks that dealt illegally with German industrial interests throughout World War II.
Now, why would that be, Little Flea? Why would that be?
Still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches.
I thought the Bushes are supposed to be Republicans, yo. And I can hear people, see, the Republicans are racist. No, they are not. You know these people original background. You've heard this man tell you. It's through banking. It's through banking. Okay. And that's the only reason he went up north. Remember, they're from Midwest. His grandfather or the dad of Prescott pushes them to the east. He's the reason they went to Connecticut. But when Prescott goes to the Skull and Bones at Yale, his grandfather had already been there. So what I'm saying is this. They're not even from Republican policies. They're not. They infiltrated over there. You know what I'm saying? That's how they got over there. They infiltrated over there. Okay, Skull and Bones is a fraternity. That's just one. That doesn't mean all fraternities think like them. You know what I'm saying? That's not true. You know, they got peace and love, you know, fraternities, Save the Dolphin fraternities. Like, how do you think these people are like that? How do you think these people are like that? When you see these college kids and they're like stupid weirdos, it's like, bro, what do you think? That's not indoctrination? Okay, how do you think they got that? They're like, oh, it's through the teachers. You sure? Can you really claim that? Or is it through hazing and indoctrination? So this is the dirtiest bank during World War II, and they doing deals with the fucking Nazis. But it's all Bush related. It's all connected to the Bushes. But the Bushes go way back to World War I. These motherfuckers have been doing dirt for like a long time. And even though people be like, oh, you was just making steel, bro. Like, fucking needed a job. Like I keep saying, it don't make no sense that a family has a legacy so tough unless a motherfucker made it that way. Somebody had to make it that way. It's not just you, because there's too many other hands in it. So it can't be just you. Like when people try to say that, you're like, oh, this motherfucker's special. He's an oracle. Like, even me, I'm not going to say that I figured this shit out by myself. We're listening to somebody. We're watching somebody else. It's just something I so happened to brought up before. So it's like, okay, it makes sense. And it's relative to why he's playing this video. But it's not just one hand. There's always multiple hands on what we are doing. That's why there's multiple hands, because this is a group thing. We are waking up. It ain't me waking up. It's not me waking you up. I'm just bringing something to you to show you what it was, what it's been, and what it could be changed. It could be changed by the more we know. So the Bush has been kicking it with Nazis, but they're the only ones who show up at the John Walsh Civil Rights funeral. Martin Luther King went to communist meetings. Communists, when we think of that, we think of kamikaze, we think of the Japanese thing, who were cool with who? Adolf Hitler and the Nazis.
Prescott Bush was not excluded from these dealings, as, according to Joseph Trento in his book Prelude to Terror, Prescott Bush personally managed one of Brown Brother Harriman's most significant clients in Nazi Germany, that being Fritz Thyssen's significant steel interests. Vital to the German rearmament effort, Thyssen's United Steelworks boomed in interwar Nazi Germany. Prescott Bush, a true banker's banker, helped Thyssen squirrel away his war profits using a Dutch shell bank under the New York-based Union Bank Corporation, a bank which Bush served on the board of from 1934 onwards. This was Prescott's golden era of Wall Street success, with Trento noting that by 1942, on top of Brown Brothers Harriman, he served on the board of directors of, among other companies, CBS, Pan American Airways, Prudential Insurance, the United States Guarantee Corporation, and Dresser Industries.
You niggas still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. All right.
A firm that would become instrumental to
Y'all been new about CBS. Y'all been knew that. Okay. The Pan Am airline. Why they close that motherfucker down? You've seen old pictures of that shit. One of the flyest airplanes on earth. Nobody can front it. Everybody wish they could have rode on Pan Am. Why they close that motherfucker down? How much coke and rape do you think took place on that fucking airline? So much so that they had to get rid of it. But when you look at it, when you literally look at these airplanes, you're like, these are the coolest fucking airplanes on earth. Why the hell would you get rid of those?
Corporation and Dresser Industries, a firm that would become instrumental to the rise of his son, future CIA Director Poppy Bush. By 1942, following the U.S.'s entry into World War II on the side of the British, the Union Banking Company was investigated by the Roosevelt administration under the Trading with the Enemy Act for their ongoing banking activities with Nazi industrial concerns. Regardless of the investigation, which did not lead to any substantial penalties, the Brown Brothers Harriman boys made out like bandits, profiting from the German rearmament and later profiting from the war itself.
Hold up. We're going to take a quick interlude real quick. I know, people in here talking. I'm over here, doing what I got to do. But we're going to take a quick, how long? Maybe 30 seconds, 30, 60 seconds, something like that. Real quick. Got to handle something real fast. Yo, yo. All right. We back in the filling. Let's get back to killing.
Episode is emblematic of the fundamental nature of the Yankee ethos. Later, profiting from the war itself. This episode is emblematic of the fundamental nature of the Yankee ethos. Although I highlighted Prescott Bush's role in financing the rise of Nazi Germany, all the partners at Brown Brothers Harriman were involved at some level. Maybe most guilty was future Secretary of Commerce W. Averell Harriman, a lifelong Democrat and outwardly, anyways, a loyalist to the Roosevelt administration.
So, and when he's saying Roosevelt, he's talking about Franklin D. Roosevelt. But, so, it's Democrats who cool with the Nazis. See, this don't make any sense, bro. When they keep telling you dumb shit about the Republicans and they're fucking racist and shit, it can't be, though. You're the one with too much. You have too much of the slave blood. You have too much of the filibuster on civil rights. You have too much of the, being cool with the Germans and you funding them. I mean, the Nazis, and you funding them, and y'all made a gang of money with the Nazis. It's like, bruh.
Still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. All right.
It's just embarrassing. It's like, and that's why black people been broke. That's why y'all been fucked up. Don't know about your patents. Barely got education on who you really are. Because, nigga, look who you're around. You've been around the slave master the whole time. You never got all the plantations. Dealing with the demon rats.
Averell Harriman went from working with Bush on securing Thyssen's steel profits to acting as the main architect of the British and Soviet Lend-Lease program from 1941 onward in the Roosevelt administration. The Lend-Lease program, envisioned by Harriman, in simple terms, worked to allow U.S. defense contractors to offload surplus supply to the U.S. government, which then worked to ship this war material free of charge to most prominently the UK and the Soviet Union to support the war in Europe. Remember, the U.S. was mainly engaged in Asia at this time, which meant...
I take that back. I don't know what Roosevelt you're talking about. It's either war. It don't matter. For some reason, America was all into Asia. For some reason, I'm gonna explain why Japan owes so much money to America and why they kind of broke and like motherfuckers. You just like the culture and shit, but they really ain't cracking like that. I'm gonna explain that later, but you can see where it's coming from. You can see why at the end, you know what I'm saying? At the end of it all, after the Nazi stuff, why there's so much remnants of it that reflects more in America. You can see why there's, Chinatowns and, the game, the video game creation time, with Atari and Sega. You can see why there's an American version, you know what I'm saying? And the Japanese version, you can see why. Fucked up. Yeah, it didn't mean to, lock up them people, but had to pay them 20 G's though. When they was locking up them Japanese people. You know what I'm saying? The same reason that Mr. Miyagi made that joke when because Red Fox is the one who introduced us to Pat Morita, if y'all don't know that. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Miyagi was brought to the world by Red Fox. But he told him a joke. He was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? You just a Japanese brother. Like, Red Fox said something like that. And he was like, man, I told you, I ain't been Japanese since December of 1941. If you know what happened, then you understand the joke. But it's like, why they start getting all cool with these Asians, folks? And I ain't knocking it. I'm just asking. And why is it?
To most prominently the UK and the Soviet Union to support the war in Europe. Remember, the US was mainly engaged in Asia at this time, which meant that the Soviets and the British were still fighting a two-front war with the Battle of Britain and the Eastern Front. The Lend-Lease program was framed as a way for the U.S. to support the war in Europe without committing manpower at that time, prioritizing instead the war in Asia against Japan. This war in Europe was, of course, fought against the German regime. That Averell Harriman's namesake bank was still, until 1942, providing.
Now, here's an interesting thing. We're gonna bring that back, but here's an interesting thing. Now we kind of realize why the Vietnamese said that to black soldiers in Vietnam. Now we truthfully understand why. Because people, you watch Dead Presidents and what does it say? It says, "Black man, go home. This is not your fight." You know what I'm saying? And the captain of the team was telling Anthony and Dead Presidents, "Yo, you better get that shit out your fucking head." And he's right though, because y'all in like war, like y'all literally in the battlefield, bro. You can't fight against your friends. Like, you don't know what these people would do to you. You can't even speak their language. Like, you'd be stupid as hell to read that and fucking fall for that. Nah, put your fucking big head on. Like, yo, you bugging. But now we know why they said that. Because remember, the Red Tails, the Tuskegee Airmen, were sent where? They were sent to Germany. They were sent to fight Hitler. They at first weren't sent nowhere. They were doing some little Jerry runs, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, because that's what they was calling the Japanese back then. Yeah, Jerry. Like they wasn't doing really dogfights though. They was like blowing up ammo camps and inventory warehouses. That's all they was doing. They sent them out there to fight Hitler, and they whooped his ass. You know what I'm saying? The dog fights from the Tuskegee Airmen is legendary forever because you're like, bro, nobody got it in like they did. Remember, it's them who keep bigging up their boy. It's the Democrats who keep bigging up Hitler. I'm a Hitler and a Hitler. And who would they call it? Trumpy. Hitler and Hitler. Oh God, Hitler. They love to dick ride their legends. Their legends. Who kicked his ass? Who helped them rescue planes get in and out of Europe? Tuskegee Airmen. That's how them guys got there safe. The white dude, even if you watch the movie, the HBO movie, Tuskegee Airmen, he admitted it. He's like, bro, I'm losing like countless men, bro. We can't get in there. He's like, I want these guys to fly, as my protection, bro. Like, I'm not going out there unless I got them. You know what I'm saying? He's talking about the Tuskegee Airmen. He's talking about the black fucking pilots. He's like, bro, the white dude told him, I'm not going. You know what I'm saying? Or better yet, he said, he's like, I ain't gonna lie, Captain. You know what I'm saying? If it's all right with you, I prefer, I forgot what the name of their division was, but he's like, I prefer them. You know what I'm saying? I feel much safer. You know what I'm saying? They've already protected my ass once. I've made it back. I don't want to go out there without them. You know what I'm saying? But why we weren't in Asia, look at all the other shit they were doing. We understand Pearl Harbor, but what I'm saying is, so we wouldn't have been in that loop anyway. That's basically what I'm saying. In World War II, they pretty much sent us over there while they was doing shit over there. Yeah, we got a couple cats, but that's Vietnam. Vietnam starts in 1967. It starts in the 60s. I'm pretty sure of it. I'm pretty sure Nam starts in like 1967. But it's late 60s, period. But remember, they got a bunch of winos and druggies and shit. Remember, it was a draft. They were just pulling people off the streets. So that's why nobody likes that war. Nobody does. Like, nobody does. Left, right, up, down, black, white, it don't matter. Nobody really like credits that as a good war because it's like, bro, you really kind of drafted a bunch of losers and just put them out there. Corey fucking lost. And it's like, for them to brag, like, I was a soldier, I did it. You're not no fucking soldier. You know what I'm saying? We pulled you in there. And yeah, you did see some horrific shit. And you're right. All the surviving soldiers, you know what I'm saying? They should get their fair shake. I believe they should get, a monthly check, and they shouldn't be homeless. They should have housing. Yeah, I think there should be housing for veterans. Because your punk ass ain't going to shoot nobody. But I'm getting off course. Yo, let's keep going.
Without committing manpower at that time, prioritizing instead the war in Asia against Japan. This war in Europe was, of course, fought against the German regime that Avril Harriman's namesake bank was still, until 1942, providing financial services for. This type of cyclical war profiteering, where the only allegiance is to capital, exemplified the nihilistic drive of Yankee finance capital, especially during wartime. Ideology was trumped by greed, and both the Soviets and the Nazis were tolerable to these financiers.
See, when people talk about Yankees, you got to remember something. Yankees are not what we're talking about when we're talking about like a conservative or a Republican. That's not what it is. A Yankee is a union person. That's what a Yankee is. That when people are speaking of Yankee, you are talking about Yankee Doodle. Okay, that's the union. That's not the there is no republic back then. There is no Republican Party when the union is around. Just like there is no Democrats like that when the the Confederacy is like alive and well. You know what I'm saying? There's really no Democrats until towards the end. You know what I'm saying? Because the arguments is coming up about freedmen and, you know, that stuff is being discussed. So it's like carpetbaggers versus scallywags. It's like scallywags are fucking Democrats and carpetbaggers are Republicans. These are like black people trying to come down and trying to get people on the right track in the South. Scallywaggers are people that have money in the South and trying to go up north to make controversy up north to bring it back down south. It's a funny, weird shit. Like it was some weird shit that took place, but he keeps saying Yankee. You know what I'm saying? This is to prove something to you. He's not talking about, and I'm not saying that the swamp's not there because Republicans ain't MAGA either. But what I'm saying is he's not necessarily referring to Republicans. He's not. He's really kind of talking about union people. And what is that? That's corporation. You know what I'm saying? That's a business, just like the unions are today. Teamsters. Lincoln was a general. This has nothing to do with Lincoln. What I'm saying to you is the people in the North, after they won the Civil War, most of them, the ones that were the upper echelons, we're not talking about black people, most of them were corrupt. Let's say it like that. Because that's the argument with the Southerner. They're saying the North is robbing them. Nobody's telling this in the history books. Because remember, don't nobody want to listen to Dave Duke. He's a racist. I heard the man fucking talk to Jesse Jackson. He didn't call him a nigger through the whole fucking program. He didn't even say that shit. He didn't even talk like that. Like it makes you look at him different because it's like, bro, the way y'all talk about this dude is like he running around spraying painting nigger on black people's houses and fucking just flipping over cars and shit. Like y'all talk about him like he's super duper fucking gangster. But when you let him talk, he gonna talk like a normal person. But he's going to bring up things that mainly I've only heard like American Indians bring up. I've only heard them like, because I'm one of them. I've only heard like Abel talk about how the South is saying that the North was robbing them. And that was the real reason they went to war. I've never heard that from nobody else except the American Indians and these racist motherfuckers. Because I always tell you, or better, I didn't tell you. People have been said this. An enemy of your enemy is your friend. Why? Why? What is the whole opposition of me not talking to him? Because of racism. That's my enemy, right? Okay, well, that's an enemy of him too. Because didn't he get his ass whooped for being racist? So now he's my friend in an educational sense. I can listen. I didn't say I have to follow and obey and love and worship. And no. But I can listen. I don't have to be so lost in a spell to where I don't hear my enemy. Oh, I don't want to hear nothing they got to say. Oh, you just Democrated out. You know how these motherfuckers say, I don't want to hear nothing about weirdo shit. Well, if you don't hear anything, how can you know anything or learn anything? That doesn't make any sense. This is why you have 2 ears. 2 ears, 2 eyes. You're supposed to take in. You're supposed to hear things. So I just wanted to clear it up because he keeps talking about Yankees, and I don't want people to think that I'm like a Yankees, but no, bro, no, that's not what he's talking about. He's talking about the times of the Republicans that everybody talking about. This is the racist Republicans that they're talking about. No, they're talking about the top hats. You're talking about these elite motherfuckers back with these skull and bones when everybody's up on the stoop and shit with the black hats on and fucking the black suits, and they're coming through in those little old cars with the top missing, and they got, like I said, the Aleister Crowley days. Like, that's what y'all are referring to. Okay, this is them. This is them. And what I'm saying is we rigged the game and we buy out both sides. For some reason, the banking is all Democrats. The banking's all Democrats. They fronting like they Republicans, but at the end of the day, they funding the Nazis. But these niggas is not fucking Democrat or Republican. These are skull and bone motherfuckers. These motherfuckers been around since grandfather. While the dad of Prescott is making the steel for the war, for the weapons in World War I, granddad's already been a skull and bone. How do you think grandson or son, whatever, gets to make steel for the weapons in World War I? How do you get a position like that? How is this family like this? How does this family just cruise so well? How?
As long as a buck was to be made. Brown Brothers Harriman was staffed at the highest echelons by both Democrats, such as the Harriman brothers, and Republicans, such as Prescott Bush, exemplifying as well how at the highest level of the capitalist hierarchy, party differences appear to evaporate in favor of continued profits and class solidarity. Interestingly, as we will see, this political ambiguity at the highest levels would also manifest itself in cowboy circles in Texas, especially where Democrat and Republican labels meant very little. Prescott Bush, the Ohio Democrat, and interestingly, differences appear to evaporate in favor of continued profits and class solidarity. Interestingly, as we will see, this political ambiguity at the highest levels would also manifest itself in cowboy circles in Texas, especially where Democrat and Republican labels meant very little. Prescott Bush, the Ohio native, had penetrated the world of high finance and Yankee profiteering, and throughout the war had allied himself primarily with Republican political circles in New York.
So what did he do? Had ingrained himself into the New York Republican elite on Wall Street in the 30s and in the 40s. Okay, cuzzo, this is how you have these Dixiecrats. Here you go. Here we go. It's like motherfuckers was trying to listen to Judge Joe Brown when he was talking to Danny with the Data. I love that fine motherfucker. She is so thick. But he talking to her and he like, nah, you know, all the racist people didn't go to the Republican side. Of course not. But when I talked about that before he even made that tape, I never said any broke people. I never said the Dixiecrats were broke.
You niggas still fucking talking? You niggas still breathing? Fucking roaches? All right.
When did I ever call the Dixiecrats broke? I told you they was Barbershop Quartet and the Klan. Wah, 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 wah. I told you they would come in these masses in the night with these torches, scare you off because spooks. And the first point of the Klan is tricks and pranks. Scare you off your land, take this torch, burn your crops. Okay. Next day, you come outside in the street, you're looking for help. You're black people. Nobody cares about you. You got these people singing. Vote for me. Wah, wah, wah. Them the same motherfuckers who just burnt your shit. How would you know? They had a mask on. Okay. Prescott Bush ingrained himself into the New York Republican elite. He's not. This is the thing. Because people are like, oh, well, you know, you basically saying the Republican elite was dirty. Of course they was. We're talking about the elites. Aren't we saying they're dirty to this day? All of them. Like, you have your football players and then you have your elite football players. Okay. You have your, you know, police and then you have your elite police. Okay. You have your fucking, you know, private and then you have the fucking general. Do you get what the fuck I'm saying? We've always been beefing with these elites. None of us are rich. And even if you're rich, can you maintain it? And if you can maintain it, do you have power? See, money doesn't give you power. It doesn't. They say that money, power, respect. It's not true. What you do with your money will determine if you have any power. Because there's plenty of people. A fool and his money will soon part. People have money and be broke the next day. So that can't give you power. It can't. It's a push. It's a very damn sure good push. If I gave any one of you $1 million right now, you could say that's not money. I'm pretty sure you can figure something to do with it. Hopefully. But I'm saying that to say this. Money doesn't give you power. What comes, how do you get power? Especially with no money. You're probably going to get, you know, part of a crew or a clique or a fraternity. Okay, so the New York Republican elites is a form of a fraternity. How did he ingrain with them? Because he's coming from Connecticut. He's coming from Connecticut. So if you notice, all East Coast, remember, at this time, it's all Republican. That's why he's saying that. He's like, yo, he got ingrained with the New York Republican elites. Why? Because this is all Yankee shit. This is all up north. Okay, bro. Nobody, when we talk about, you know, the black Republicans being killed off, bro, we're talking about the South, my brothers. We're not talking about up north. We're not. We're really not talking about up north. When I show you the picture of Louisiana council and they're all black, bro, isn't that Louisiana? So nobody is saying that the North is on the same shit as the South. Because remember, they killed off all the smart blacks of the South. And then in the 30s and 40s, ironically, here comes all these knucklehead Southerners up north. Fucked up the cut. Thomas Sowell, we've already watched it. We understand now. It's nothing personal. East, west, north, south. It has nothing to. How the fuck you gonna take it personal if these fucking spellcasters are doing all this and making billions at the same time, millions at the same time?
These are, I'll remind you, Yankee Republican circles. Think the Rockefellers. Amongst these circles were the ubiquitous Dulles brothers themselves.
Still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches.
Are black fucking Republicans in the North Rockefellers? Besides Jay-Z's fucking clearly a fucking Illuminati goddamn slave puppet bitch ass nigga. We even seen pictures of him in the lodge. He takes Rockefellers. Okay, who did Prescott Bush intertwine himself with? The Rockefellers. One more time, man. One more time.
Still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches.
I already know somebody gonna watch this video and just try to steal all my shit, and then at the same time they gonna act like they came with it. I'm fucking dying laughing because you know, niggas, y'all ain't the only motherfuckers who watch niggas. I watch you niggas too. This shit gonna be funny. I'll be like, but remember, I'm not giving it out to keep. I want y'all to have it. I'm just saying, motherfuckers ain't gonna shout at that light show for nothing. Huh? Ain't gonna sit to the light, huh? Fucking busters.
Circles in New York. These are, I'll remind you, Yankee Republican circles. Think the Rockefellers. Amongst these circles were the ubiquitous Dulles brothers, themselves embedded members of the Yankee aristocracy and key players on Wall Street, as partners at the prestigious corporate law firm Sullivan and Cromwell.
That's them two motherfuckers. The Dulles brothers is the one that Eddie Murphy had in his movie. I honestly believe them motherfuckers is Randolph. Randolph and I'm still not talking to you, Mortimer. Like, that's them niggas. I believe that. I believe that. I ain't gonna front. Hollywood is weird. I believe that that's who they talking about. I believe they talking about these two niggas. Real shit.
Of course, the Dulleses and Prescott Bush had more in common than being Republican bankers, as the Dulles brothers, Alan and John Foster, had themselves worked and profited from deals with German business interests during the war, most prominently through their law firm's major client, the German chemical cartel
Oh,
IG.
man, this shit is filthy, bro. These motherfuckers is...
You niggas still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. All right.
How is the fucking Bushes Republicans and not Democrats, nigga, and they're wrapped around all this German shit, bro? This is so fucking stupid. Motherfuckers just act like just all these bum motherfuckers just became Republican. Nah, nigga, that's a poser. That's a poser like a mother. You cannot be Republican, like, in truth. I'm talking about the bum white people that be over there with the cowboy hat and shit. They cannot truthfully be a Republican unless they are not racist. Unless they are willing to fight side by side with black people. You cannot be one. Because that's why he's differentiating between Yankees and Republicans. He's not calling them Republicans. He's calling them Yankees, which are the elites that are hiding behind the Republicans and are racist and ignorant as hell. They don't care about nobody. They just want the money. That's the whole point of AOC talking about tax the rich. But she don't know what time she's in. Like, hold up, little knucklehead. You're not talking about MAGA at all. MAGA has nothing to do with what you're talking about. He is so far unconnected with any of this shit. If Trump was connected with the Bushes wouldn't have hated on Trump.
Niggas still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches.
Bro, even their third cousin, Obama, fucking hated on Trump. They're not connected. They've already done the survey on who got slave master blood in them. That bitch, little nappy head hoe, I voted for her just to make sure my vote went through. Elizabeth Warren, that motherfucker, she got slave Klansmen, fucking slave owners in her background. A few Democrats, they were saying, like a few of them. You know what I'm saying? And Mitch McConnell. Yep. Old ass Yankee. Bitch ass motherfucking deep state ass motherfucker. Yeah, his Republican ass. He got slave master background. Trump's the only one who didn't. Out of all of them that they brought up. Out of everybody they brought up, Trump the only one who don't. I told you his dad was a poser. He's a wannabe. Those can't exist. Wannabes don't exist. Oh, we want to be rich. So what, motherfucker? That's him. His racist ass wasn't trying to sit there and watch two black men box in the ring. His son was. His son shaking hands with fucking black people and shit. Paying for their fucking presidential campaign. It's like, bruh, this don't sound like no racist, bruh. That don't sound like somebody who's a part of these niggas, bruh. It don't. And remember, I told you, black people only made money off Bush because they was Democrats, but they also had to deal with Hurricane Katrina. Smoke on that one.
All right. You niggas still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. All right.
Oh yeah, y'all gonna make the most money in my time, but I'm gonna make sure you niggers pay for that. I'm gonna flood you motherfuckers. And before I leave, the next motherfucker gonna have a housing crash, guaranteed. What happened? And motherfuckers be like, well, damn, what the fuck you saying? George Bush don't care about black people. I give Kanye that. Maybe he knew a little bit, and ain't he the one who told you to vote for Trump? That little crazy motherfucker actually got some sense. If you play it back between Bush don't care about black people to supporting Trump, the nigga actually knew what he was talking about with his crazy ass. For a little bit, he actually did. Son of a bitch. They had me on opiates. The fucking gym instructor told me, yeah, you better shut up before we lock you in the room again. bankers. Oh, Hollywood, the music industry, oh, the movie industry, oh, so much money. Don't they have to deal with banks?
You niggas still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. All right.
So are actors slaves to the banks because they make money for the banks, or they make money for studios for the banks? And Small Hat wrapped all up in the rap. How is that?
You niggas still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. All right.
Farben. This likely worked to bind the men together, each knowing the other's secret, almost like a small mutual blackmail network. Prescott Bush likely met the Dulles brothers early in his career, as Sullivan and Cromwell came to be the legal representatives of Brown Brothers Harriman. And remember, Prescott Bush and the Dulles brothers were each respective partners of their firms. To this day, actually, the two firms still work together, as can be seen in this 2021 news release from Sullivan and Cromwell.
These motherfuckers are still here to this day.
You niggas still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. All right.
That has to be scary with the Wall Street crash and the housing situation and the 35 trillion in the hole. Do you think these guys are in the hole? Do you think any of these people are in the hole? And remember, we're connecting these to the presidents. Everybody that was the president before 2009 is related. Vainglorious. I'm pretty sure Brother Sanchez is still mad at me. Even though I ain't gonna act like he know me and I don't know him. But I'm pretty sure he's still mad at me because that video's still, pretty sure he's still mad at me to this day. You know what? You're right. The white girl was right. Every president since 2009 and back are related. We can damn sure see how, because if people are presidents and they're related to the banking industry, and you know they're killing people and taking their oil, and it's like, yeah, they knocked down 2 towers, but who cares? It's like, look at all this money is going around. And then people are like, yo, they have bombs in the building, and you're like, nah, that can't be. You sure? And then why was the building owned by a Jewish dude who ended up taking insurance out on it like 3 months before it happened?
Still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches.
Remember, they don't care about you. They care about money. They don't even care about your soul. They want money. They're literally like molest kids and shit. They don't care about your soul. They care about money and power and control. That's all they want.
Where they're representing, of course, still Brown Brothers Harriman. Through this connection, the elder Bush, partner at Harriman's, would become acquainted with future CIA Director Allen Dulles, partner at Sullivan and Cromwell. And following the end of World War II, connection, the elder Bush, partner at Harriman's, would become acquainted with future CIA Director Allen Dulles, partner at Sullivan and Cromwell.
So, we have a Dulles that becomes head of CIA. We have a Bush that ends up having a son that ends up being the head of the CIA. Both dealing with banking.
All right. You niggas still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. All right.
This shit is starting to come together like butt cheeks, ain't it?
And following the end of World War II, Allen Dulles returned from Switzerland to Sullivan and Cromwell on Wall Street, feeling exasperated. The Office of Strategic Services, the U.S.'s wartime spy agency that Dulles held a high position in, had been services Cromwell on Wall Street, feeling exasperated. The Office of Strategic Services, the U.S.'s wartime spy agency that Dulles held a high position in, had been abolished by Truman very shortly after the war's end. This left an awkward 2 or so year period between the dissolution of the OSS and the founding of the CIA, where
No, it didn't at all. Truman dropped the fucking bombs on fucking Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Bro, this don't seem odd, period. This is how you clean it up. Why the hell? Nobody even knew about this organization. You see, it's a spearhead, motherfucker. These motherfuckers is shoot to kill. This is what this shit is. Pretty much, it's a spearhead as the fucking logo. Does anybody understand what that means? Like, that means you're dead. Like, it's like a bullet being the logo. Nigga, these motherfuckers is here. They shoot to kill. Shoot to kill. That is basically what that means. If your logo is a fucking spearhead, bro, this don't sound like no peaceful shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, bro, hell yeah, knock that shit off. Soon as the war was over, get the fuck out of here. And mother's like, well, why would he do that? Bro, you ain't seen the tapes of the fucking nuke explosions and shit? The house is still there, bro. They had a car there, then they moved the car. It's like, bro, it's a set. This shit is fake. This shit is a prop. It's not even real. It was like, oh, well, it's supposed to be real testing grounds, and they're claiming that the camera's really there. And it's like, no, bro. This shit is all fake. None of this shit didn't happen. They even showed the Nagasaki fucking joint, and it's like, nigga, everything should be gone. No, motherfuckers is literally still walking. There's like a street. It's like, bro, what the fuck is this shit a prop? Like, did you set this whole thing up? Is this shit y'all was over there fucking with them Asians? You know what I'm saying? Like, did it really go down like that? Or is the whole shit a game? Motherfucker.
By Truman very shortly after the war's end. This left an awkward 2 or so year period between the dissolution of the OSS and the founding of the CIA, where U.S. intelligence was held in limbo. Well, it turned out that
they said that other agency with the spearhead was like for war. Okay, and then the CIA is Central Intelligence, and these motherfuckers be going to other people's countries. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like with these spearhead motherfuckers. So if we say they're going around starting controversy, making up shit, it's like to be able to get these banks to fund these missiles to get in. It's like, damn, nigga, don't y'all find that weird that the Bushes were making steel for weapons, and then these motherfuckers in the banking, and then Skull and Bones, and these motherfuckers are connected to all these big time players and shit. And it's like, bro, it's always seeming like it was by design. Like, these motherfuckers is like in the game, but where did they get it from? The Bones, baby, the Bones.
Allen Dulles.
Why'd they pick off JFK again? Because of that interview, or that whatever the fuck, where he talking about these secret societies, secret groups, and then after he picked the fuck off in the middle, like, oh, well, how do we know that's true? Because, nigga, even Tucker Carlson was talking about it before he left Fox News, bro. He's like, bro, it's highly possible that the CIA was involved, because the dude who kills JFK, for some reason, some odd person in the crowd just so happens to have a gun on him, and it just so happens to clip this motherfucker before anybody talks to him. How funny. And then the dude that he clips, he got all this like past like receipts of like fame of fancy hotels in Germany and shit. And it's like, well, what the fuck is he doing way over there? Well, wait a minute, cuz I thought we was talking about German bankers. The Allen Dulles or whatever the fuck, the dude with the fucking pipe in his mouth is like, okay, well, if they was with a German steel company and the Bushes coming from an American steel company, okay, like he said, you can see the connection right there. This shit is deadly. And remember, this is the last fucking video of the year, B. Like, what?
Already a young spy master, set up his own private intelligence agency in post-war Manhattan, keeping the top OSS spooks on the payroll until President Truman formed the CIA in 1947. It turns out that Dulles' private CIA was based
1947. Same year they turned Hindustan into India. Remember, these niggas was out there spearheading. They all over the place. Anyway, give me a second. Bro, what the fuck, yo? What the fuck, yo? Like, first of all, for any survivors out there, like, yo, what the fuck, yo? Like, I'm not gonna front. Like, what the fuck, yo? Like, this shit. I don't think any of us can fuck. We need it.
It's
this
all
is a
there,
moment,
black
right?
and white, clear as crystal. You stole fizzy lifting drinks. You bumped into the ceiling, which now has to be washed and sterilized, so you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Yo, I'm serious. Like, I'm not done with you guys. I'm not. Motherfuckers is really gonna have to like watch this a couple times. Like, serious. And everybody who came through, left, gonna come back later, yo, peace and love. I already know you, Black Rabbit, yo, East Side. I'm already knowing. Like I said, I already know there's gonna be a few people that show up, but yo, bro, hell nah, what the fuck? Some serious shit.
Not in the offices of Sullivan and Cromwell, but at 44 Wall Street, which happened to be the offices rented by Brown Brothers Harriman.
Hold on.
Books on the payroll until President.
This motherfucker banged on people to keep quiet and shut the fuck up until Harry Truman made the CIA. You know what I'm saying? But they pretty much is the OSS. The CIA, we just figured out, is the OSS. You know what I'm saying? Courtesy of the homie Eyes Wide Open. You know what I'm saying? That's what we just learned. We just learned this spearhead group. You know what I'm saying? These motherfuckers that was like the Legion of fucking Doom. Doing all types of grimy shit all over the fucking earth. These motherfuckers right here, okay, this OSS joint pretty much turns into the CIA. And I ain't gonna lie, the CIA is the dusty, dingy version of this fucking OSS. Even though the OSS doesn't give a fuck, they mess with racists, they don't give a fuck. These are old fucking white people. It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. No offense, and I don't mean old white people. I'm sorry, old paleface. It makes perfect sense. You know what I'm saying? Paleface run the show right now. He got the show. So why the fuck would a bunch of paleface be making money? Like, that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I got the ball. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got the Michael Jordan, the Michael Jackson, the Michael, you know what I'm saying, Tyson and shit. It's like, yo. I'm sorry, like, bro, it's already happened. So it's like, I could be all super mad, but I'm talking about these banker motherfuckers. Man, when you figure these dudes out, they'll be years ahead of you. We rigged the game and we buy off both sides. What was the name of that fucking shit when I showed y'all? The Banker. stories passed from father to son. We control the money and it controls your lives. It's like, bro, okay, that was called The Banker. The Banker's dealing with the CIA, the OSS. These niggas got it like that. Why? Because they got the money. It's the money, bro. Anybody who's been locked up knows whoever got bread is safe. This motherfucker could be a straight bitch. It don't matter who he is. Like, real shit. Motherfuckers been protected, pedophiles, all type of shit. Because they got the money. This nigga, everybody's stores is full. Everybody got food. Like, you cannot stop the money. He's got all this money. He get whatever he want. Front room service. Like, and I'm saying that as a like a reference. Like, I'm using that because I've been locked up before. And I remember there was one cat in there. It was like a African dude, actually. Young cat. But I think he was like one of them I don't know. I don't know what the fuck he was, but it's like, no, he wasn't. He wasn't African. He was African, but he's from England, though. He was like an English dude. And we was in a bad jail, too. We was in George Bailey. You know what I'm saying? In Dago, anybody who know, George Bailey is not the place to play with. And that means you're not somebody to play with. That's why you brought your ass up there. But motherfucker, nobody can touch this motherfucker. Like, I don't know what the fuck. And bank. Stupid bank. Like, his ticket was always $400. And that's the max you can put on there. His ticket was always $400. Always. So that means every store he had $400 to play with. Every store. Every time. Motherfucker had pool. So I'm saying that to say this. The banker. The man with the gold rules. All I'm saying is if he's breaking the rules to get rulership, you know what I mean? Because remember, I'm Nipmuc Indian. I'm what they call the melanated man. I'm the Negro over here. So I'm looking at it on some shit like I'm learning. You know what I'm saying? I'm learning about secrecy and doing things with people and empowering each other and, you know, helping each other out. But not in the sense of, oh, yeah, we're just going to drink together. I'll buy you a beer. You buy me a beer. No, I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying it like, you know, off the camera, off the record, you can get a lot done. You know, my people need to take heed to that because all of us are here. And nobody should be begging you to have a conversation when you know that there's keys in this. And I'm not talking about this video. I'm just saying, period. Like everybody. Everybody's got a jewel to drop. We just got to pick them all up. And then we'll have a bag full of jewels. And we use them jewels to rule Salam. Jewels rule Salam. I like that.
Dulles, already a young spy master, set up his own private intelligence agency in post-war Manhattan, keeping the top OSS spooks on the payroll until President Truman formed the CIA in 1947. It turns out that Dulles's private CIA was based not in the offices of Sullivan and Cromwell, but at 44 Wall Street, which happened to be the offices rented by Brown Brothers Harriman and Bush, who, according to Joseph Trento, acted as an unofficial advisor for early CIA money laundering activity.
If anybody, scratch that. If any family in American history could have pulled off blowing up those Twin Towers, who would it be? Who would have enough pull? See, this is making people like Bill Maher look as dumb as he's always been, because he was the one flipping out on his crowd who was telling him, Building 7, bro, no planes hit it. How the fuck did it go down, bro? It made him, get him out of here. Get him out of here. What family would be able to do it? What family would have enough pull to make sure that everybody that was related to Arabs or related to the families that was a part of that business would have plane tickets shipped to Arabia, first class. We learned that from Fahrenheit 9/11, Michael Moore. He told us that. That's way back in the day. He told us about them tickets a long time ago. Who would have the money to do it? Who would have the power to do it? Who would have the respect? Skull and Bones.
You niggas is still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. All right.
Anybody who don't think 9/11 was a setup is a fool. You're a damn fool. Oh, real people died in that. So these motherfuckers is connected to world wars. How many bodies is on? Remember, I told you George Bush Jr. executed 160-something people, the largest amount of people executed in American history under one person's belt, under one governor's belt. How many skull and bones has this body created? How many skull and bones does this family have?
You niggas is still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. All right.
Is that what that fraternity is? You have to do a look in the people that then came from that fraternity. We have to see how much blood they have dripped. Because maybe that's what that fraternity is. Maybe that's a murder fraternity. And maybe that's why they got to get in that casket naked, jack off, and admit all their wrongs. Because with that much blood on your hands, you probably would have to do some sick shit, right? We're not talking about slaves, people that drink piss and eat poo, and, entertainers. No, we're talking about businessmen. Powerful motherfuckers. You see how their rituals are a lot different. Sounds sick. Sounds sick. You have to lay in a casket butt naked. Everybody in the group looking at you. And you have to masturbate and commit all your sins. If that ain't no devil shit, I don't know what the fuck is. Well, that's where they come from.
Activities that he had significant experience with during the war. Prescott's links to the early CIA network were not confined to only Allen Dulles. He was also close friends with William Pauly, a Pan Am executive, a firm which I will remind you Bush also sat on the board of.
Why we get rid of that group? Airplane. He's a CIA patron. Why we get rid of that airplane? I told you. Best looking flight attendants. Wide open space. Sit down, eat food, walk around. Had it upstairs, downstairs. Why get rid of that plane company when it was one of the best planes ever to fly in? And they don't have that many crashes. It's not like, oh, Pan Am just was crashing. They just got rid of it. Just the company that is ran by bankers. A fucking airplane company that is ran by bankers just disappears. It is one of the best airplanes ever to be made. Like I said, you can literally go on Google, look inside of a Pan Am airplane. Don't tell me you don't want to fly in one of them motherfuckers now. Even if it's 70s, even if it's 60s. Don't tell me you wouldn't fly in one of them motherfuckers. Too clean. Too clean. You ever heard of the Mile High Club? Isn't that for elites, rich people? Doesn't that have to do with having sex on an airplane? When did that start? Was it Pan Am? Pan. Literally. Greek mythology. Pan. The beginning of Panda. Am. When did they fly them illegal immigrants through the night to the sanctuary cities? In the Am. I'm not a scary dude. I just put things together.
Executive, a firm which I will remind you Bush also sat on the board of. Pauley, an avid Republican millionaire, helped procure the planes for Claire Chennault's Flying Tigers in China on behalf of the Roosevelt administration in the last years of the war. The airline, which I will remind you, would also become the CIA's CAT and later Air America in Southeast Asia. Pauley would later play a significant role in both the CIA's option in Southeast Asia.
Now, we all know that the Egyptian worship in the West is perverted. We all know that. Air America is wings and a shield. The sun disk can be viewed as a shield. Not saying anything about the East. I'm not saying anything about the original Egyptians. I'm saying the Egyptian thought process that was brought to the West through Mr. Charlie is perverted.
Pauley would later play a significant role in both the CIA's Operation PB Success, the coup in Guatemala in 1954, and also the Bay of Pigs invasion in 1961, an operation that Prescott Bush's son George would also play a similar role in, as we will see later. As I have shown, these connections run deep, especially where the last name Bush is concerned. And Prescott's son.
So he's saying when Bush Sr. was an oil executive, he was a CIA asset at the same time. That's why he brought up the 50s. That's why he said he's been around since the 50s. So that means he's around during Jimmy Carter, the whole Panama Canal thing. He's around during Ronald Reagan. He's the VP when the assassination attempt takes place.
George H.W., known colloquially as Poppy, was about to be inducted into this old boys club, otherwise known as the Cult of Intelligence. George Herbert Walker Bush was born on June 12, 1924, the second eldest son of Prescott Bush and Dorothy Walker. His postgraduate studies were delayed, as Poppy served as a pilot in the Navy during World War II, before enlisting like his father at Yale in 1945. There, like his father again, he was inducted into the Skull and Bones Society. At this point, we have two diverging narratives on how the young Bush was brought into the CIA. It remains clear that it was sometime between 1947, his junior year, and his graduation in 1948 that he first brushed shoulders with the intelligence community.
1947 again. Very critical year for the Indian. Very critical year. Because remember, civil rights hasn't started yet. Civil rights movement doesn't start till 54. Color TV doesn't come out until I believe, 60s? Or late 50s, 60s, something like that. Remember, y'all wasn't even on TV. People didn't know what was going on with y'all. As soon as y'all get on TV, you got all these preachers, radical activists.
According to a 1992 Covert Action magazine article by Anthony Kimmery, Bush was likely recruited to the CIA while at Yale. We have to remember the Ivy League schools, but most prominently Yale College, were used by the intelligence community as recruitment grounds for young spooks. The Kimmery article speculates that Bush, like many other future CIA assets, were recruited by the Yale crew coach named Alan Skip Waltz, who was a former agent in the Office of Naval Intelligence. This theory gains additional credence when we keep in mind that Bush served in the Navy in World War II, and that he was likely in close contact with Coach Waltz during his time in Yale athletics. This trajectory Bush would have made his entry into the CIA completely unceremonious, identical to potentially hundreds of other Yaleys who were pipelined from college to Langley. Joseph Trento, in his book Prelude to Terror, offers an alternative story for how Poppy Bush was inducted into the intelligence community that is compatible with the covert action story, yet slightly more complex. Trento bases his analysis on an interview he conducted with a man named William Corson, who was a Marine who served as an attaché to the CIA in the 50s in Asia. Corson claimed that George Bush had been recruited on the specific orders of Allen Dulles as a potential wedge to be used later on Prescott. It is pretty much universally acknowledged that the younger Bush was consistently pining for the approval of his established father, who never seemed willing to give it. Corson stated that Dulles understood this dynamic and that, quote, George's insecurities were like clay to Dulles, end quote. After
countless stories pass from fathers to sons, inherited knowledge. We control the money that controls your lives. But yet you choose to worship false idols.
Graduating from Yale in 1948, Poppy Bush was immediately given a job at Dresser Industries, a company controlled by Brown Brothers Harriman since 1928, and according to Trento, a firm that would often collaborate with the CIA by giving agents cover assignments. Dresser Industries, a company that specialized in manufacturing oil derrick components, amongst other things, became the first of many oil-related companies that would be used as prominent intelligence fronts by the intelligence community. Upon acquiring the company in 1928, newly minted partner Prescott Bush appointed his good friend and fellow Ohio native Neil Mallon as the president of the newly...
I ain't gonna lie, Prescott Bush got one of the most Masonic looking pictures ever. Like, this motherfucker looked like a motherfucker. like, look at his face. Look how he look at you with the dead eyes, nigga. Dead eyes. Everybody know that. Back in the dollar bill. Dead eyes. George Washington. Dead eyes. Something about them dead eyes, you already know. Like, yo, this motherfucker got bodies, bro. This motherfucker that does shit. And people like, George Washington, yes, motherfucker, general. Motherfucker killed plenty of motherfuckers. Fuck slavery. No, what does his gun do, motherfucker? He's a general.
Acquired firm. Despite having no oil and gas experience, Neil would remain with the company for 3 decades. He would be the one to give George H.W. Bush his first job out of Yale. Neil Mallon was an uncle-like figure to young Poppy, who would even name his own son Neil after his adopted Uncle Mallon. Later, in a letter discovered by Russ Baker, Prescott Bush alluded to Neil's true purpose at the head of Dresser Industries. Prescott stated in the letter that Neil Mallon was, quote, well known to Allen Dulles and has tried to be helpful to him in the CIA, especially in the procurement of individuals to serve in that important agency, end quote. In a sense, Bush was indirectly admitting that his son had been recruited to the CIA by Uncle Mallon of Dresser Industries. In the true purpose at the head of Dresser Industries. Prescott stated in the letter that Neil Mallon was, quote, well known to Allen Dulles and has tried to be helpful to him in the CIA, especially in the procurement of individuals to serve in that important agency, end quote. In a sense, Bush was indirectly admitting that his son had been recruited to the CIA by Uncle Mallon of Dresser Industries, good friend of Allen Dulles and colleague to the elder Bush. And if the young Bush was brought onto the agency, as Trento suggests, as a wedge against his father, the wily Allen Dulles would soon gain a reason to cash in on his new asset. As in 1952, after a failed run in 1950, banker Prescott Bush became election of President Eisenhower and, of course, Vice President Richard Nixon.
Now,
Prescott Bush
I
had
don't know why they set up Nixon. And at the same time, you understand why they went into politics, because you got to get people to follow your agenda. So something else I wanted to talk about, nepotism. People try to use that as a colloquial sense, or like a group sense. Like, oh, yeah, everybody does that. No. Royal bloodline. Remember? Remember all the presidents were royal bloodline. Remember? This is what nepotism is origining as, with this corruption. We're not talking about, you want your lineage to continue in the legacy. No. We're talking about bloodlines. This is why it went from Bush to Bush to Bush to Bush, and they all got legendary roles. This is why it's a bloodline.
been a longtime personal friend and steadfast supporter of Dwight Eisenhower. The two had been longtime golfing partners, likely meeting for the first time while Bush was president of the U.S. Golf Association.
Wow.
Bush, alongside other Yankee Republicans, such as the Dulles brothers and the Rockefellers, were all instrumental in the draft Eisenhower movement, which worked to sway Ike to run as a Republican in the 1952 election. These forces,
we rigged the game and we buy out both sides.
to sway Ike to run as a Republican in the 1952 election. These forces, the Bushes, the Dulleses, and the Rockefellers, and the draft Eisenhower movement more broadly, would help pave the way towards the future interventionist Republican Party. First under Richard Nixon's presidency.
Donald Rumsfeld, Dick Cheney, Paul Wuskoff, or however you say that fucking name. See? This is your deep state. This is your deep state. Dick Cheney been in the game long time. Yeah, I just know him as, he's Bush Jr. VP. He had been in the game for a long time. By the time he Bush Jr. VP, that nigga's an old man.
Future interventionist Republican Party.
I'm right there. He old. But what I'm saying is he's been around for a long time.
First under Richard Nixon's presidency, and then the rise of the neocons birthed in the Nixon White House, and then given substantial power under Gerald Ford's presidency. First under Richard Nixon's presidency, and then the rise of the neocons birthed in the Nixon White House.
Now here's the thing. Nixon was around a bunch of Asians. He ain't know. He ain't know. See, that's why they call him Tricky Dicky. They don't even realize it wasn't even him. It wasn't him. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, because that whole Watergate shit is turning out to be a lie. That was all Democrats. The fuck would a Republican be doing running in the... That was all Democrats.
And then given substantial power under Gerald Ford's presidency, and finally let loose under the two Bush presidencies at the climax of American interventionism.
What I tell you, Bill Clinton wasn't nothing but a bitch. He was nothing but the monkey in the middle. Motherfucker wasn't running nothing. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. This motherfucker's a goddamn hillbilly airhead. He's just an idiot, bro. He's a patsy. They put him there.
It all started, arguably, with draft Eisenhower in the early 50s. And of course, Ike and Nixon won the election in 52. The general was undoubtedly a strong candidate and would likely have won regardless of which party he ran for. His running mate, Richard Nixon, acted as the young stalwart attack dog, bringing the McCarthy wing of the Republican Party firmly onto the ticket. Yet their victory could also be equally attributed to the massive financial and influence networks brought along by the draft Eisenhower figures. I should also, in this same vein, mention the Brown Brothers Harriman boys' links to Ike's young running mate, the one and only Richard Nixon.
Ooh,
Russ Baker in Family of Secrets draws speculative links between the ascent of a young Richard Nixon in the immediate post-war period and the elder Prescott Bush. It is now no longer a secret that Nixon was elevated to the national stage not by the highly public support from the small family-owned businesses of his hometown of Whittier, California, but instead due largely to the institutional support from the East Coast Yankees for his original run. Longtime Democratic Congressman Jerry Voorhis, whom Nixon defeated in his first 1946 congressional election victory, toyed with these very same ideas, claiming in an unpublished manuscript that, quote, the Nixon campaign was a creature of big Eastern financial interests, end quote. Now, of course, we have to remember that Voorhis was not exactly unbiased on this issue. He had just been defeated after 5 consecutive terms in the House by the very Richard Nixon that he was accusing of taking large corporate money.
Okay.
But there is substantial circumstantial evidence to support Voorhis's incendiary claims. Firstly, as I covered earlier, Nixon was introduced to many Eastern establishment insiders during his time on the East Coast with the Navy at the very end of the war. As a junior congressman, he happened to be on the Queen Mary cruise liner in 1947 at the same time as one Allen Dulles, for example, good friends of Prescott Bush. But Russ Baker draws an even more concrete link between Bush the father and the young Nixon. Baker notes that all the way back in October 1945, Prescott Bush's Dresser Industries was expanding its operations into none other than Whittier, California, Nixon's hometown. Baker then links this October 1945 expansion with a statement made by the aforementioned Jerry Voorhis, who claimed that also in October 45, a, quote, representative from a large New York financial house made a trip to California, end quote, presumably to find a suitable Republican candidate to oppose the incumbent Democrat Voorhis. As Russ Baker implies, could this quote-unquote representative from a large New York financial house have been Prescott Bush himself? Or maybe it was Uncle Neil Mallon, the new president of Dresser Industries. Either way, Congressman Nixon and future Senator Prescott Bush would appear close in the upcoming years, even posing together for a now infamous photo of the two wearing matching Panama hats. Looking at this photo closer, it almost appears that the elder Bush is telling this young Nixon, you know, we made you, it's time to get to work. But that
These niggas is still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. Alright.
It could work. It could work. Nixon could be innocent in the beginning and then be a patsy at the end. Why? Because we need Kennedy in so we can duff him off and then push LBJ in. I'm feeling like hesitant what I'm saying, but then I always have to remember by the time you figure them out, they're years ahead of you. So Prescott Bush putting that hat on, and it's a Panamanian hat. That's what really fucks my head up, because I'm like, then as a Democrat, here comes Jimmy Carter. Remember, they all went to Yale. All these schools are funded by heroin. I can't put it past them. I can't put it past them. I can't. Damn. These some deep motherfuckers. Watergate could have been set up by the elites to knock this motherfucker off. So, damn. Like, yo, damn.
Still fucking talking. You niggas still breathing. Fucking roaches. Alright.
That's just my interpretation. Anyways, some years later, and this is important to note, Prescott's son George H.W. Bush would be elevated to some of his first major appointments by then President Richard Nixon, who appointed him first as his ambassador to the UN in 1971, then as head of the Republican National Committee in 1974, and finally as his special envoy to China in the last weeks of his presidency. It appeared circumstantially anyways that Nixon owed Bush, as he elevated the otherwise obscure congressman to some surprisingly high-profile positions. So, did the elder Prescott Bush create Richard Nixon? It is hard to say definitively, but given the now revealed role of the Eastern Nixon, it is hard to owed Bush, as he elevated the otherwise obscure congressman to some surprisingly high-profile positions. So, did the elder Prescott Bush create Richard Nixon?
That's a hell of a question. And it's a hell of a question because of the elites. And that's a hell of a question. I mean, I kind of just said it a little bit ago. It's like Nixon could have been put there. Nixon could have been put there. Yeah.
It is hard to say definitively, but given the
and then also, doesn't that like
now revealed role of the Eastern establishment,
doesn't that kind of conclude that like most of them are put there? Remember, this is all before 2009 or 2008. And they're like, oh, it's family related. I mean, it's related technically through blood by the presidents, or is it connected through blood through this thing?
in Nixon's rise, and Bush's prominent role in the draft Eisenhower movement, and finally the later elevation of Poppy Bush by then President Richard Nixon, it remains plausible that the rise of Nixon was abetted by Prescott and his friends on Wall Street. The top echelons of the draft Eisenhower coalition were rewarded for their loyalty and determination. John Foster Dulles was given Secretary of State, while Deputy Director Allen Dulles was eventually given the directorship of CIA in 1953. Nelson Rockefeller was brought in as a special advisor to the president in the first half of his presidency. Even men like Robert Lovett, the Brown Brothers Harriman Texan turned Secretary of Defense under President Truman, was eventually given a position in the Eisenhower administration as a member of the newly created President's Intelligence Advisory Board, created by Ike in 1956. The PIAB remains one of the most unaccountable and opaque pieces of the U.S. intelligence apparatus, serving as a completely independent in-house intelligence board accountable only to the president. Their official function, according to the White House website Archive, is to provide, quote, the president with an independent source of advice on the effectiveness with which the intelligence community is meeting the nation's intelligence needs, end quote. In other words, the PIAB was created as an independent group of presidentially selected operatives that were allowed intimate access to the inner workings of the intelligence community. Robert Lovett, Prescott Bush's colleague, was awarded a seat on the very first iteration of this board in 1956. Alongside Lovett on Eisenhower's board, interestingly enough, was the fellow PIAB member Joseph Kennedy, father to JFK and RFK. Much has already been said, including by myself, about JFK potentially being tipped off about the Bay of Pigs invasion planning taking shape at the end of the Eisenhower presidency while he was running for president in 1960 against Nixon. Joseph Kennedy's presence on Ike's President's Intelligence Advisory Board could plausibly have led to the leaking of the Cuban invasion plans to the JFK campaign, as has been speculated by many researchers before. Anyways, this was all a digression, but I promise it was a relevant one. This unelected and uniquely unaccountable body would later be used by future presidents, and maybe most prominently by both Poppy Bush and his son George W., as a largely invisible vehicle to inducting friends and close associates into the intelligence bubble, without going through the cumbersome CIA or Pentagon bureaucracies. An often overlooked body that remains almost completely untraceable to this day. But there is surely significance to these appointments, such as figures like Robert Lovett and Joseph Kennedy, for example. But we'll keep coming back to it, especially in regards to Poppy. And of course, while talking about the Eisenhower years, how could we forget Prescott Bush, one of the old general's most prominent supporters, who of course won a Senate seat of his own in 1952. But this is not where Prescott's good fortunes would end. No, the elder Bush, who I will remind you was a junior senator at the time, was given a seat on the coveted Senate Armed Services Committee, the main body that oversees legislation relating broadly to security, the Department of Defense, and intelligence. From there, he was appointed to the Oversight Subcommittee, the main civilian apparatus that oversees the activities of, amongst many other agencies, the CIA, or in other words, Allen Dulles' fiefdom. I should also note one more interesting connection before moving on. During Prescott's 9 years as a senator and nearly decades serving on the Armed Services Committee, he was mostly serving under the chairman of the committee, Democratic Senator Richard Russell Jr., who chaired the committee from 1951 to 53, and then again from 1955 to 69. Before then being
why is Bush is so cool with these Democrats, though? Like, why are they so cool with the Democrats if they Republicans? We keep hearing about it. Democrat bankers, Democrat homie, Democrat friend, Democrat. We keep hearing about it. Why?
Appointed to chair the equally prestigious Senate Committee on Appropriations from 1969 to 71. Now, I bring up Senator Russell here, who I must note was an early supporter and ally to Senator Lyndon Johnson from Texas, because he would reemerge in 1964 as one of the members of the Johnson-convened Warren Commission, which was the official investigation and cover-up of the murder of JFK.
Why? These niggas set up the murder. It just so happens you was already friends with the motherfucker who's gonna be president right after the murder. Then they throw you on the committee of we gonna investigate the murder. We rig the game and buy out both sides.
Interesting with this context to note Richard Russell's working relationship with Prescott Bush, a close friend to future fellow Warren Commission member Allen Dulles, and father to future CIA Director Poppy Bush. And since we're on the subject of the Warren Commission, I'd be remiss if I did not mention that Congressman and future President Gerald Ford also served on the Warren Commission. And I will remind you, of course, that President Gerald Ford was the one to elevate Poppy to the CIA directorship during his presidency in 1976.
Gerald Ford, another fucking puppet, and he only did one term.
In summary, the connections between Poppy.
I wonder why.
Presidency in 1976. In summary, the connections between Poppy Bush and the investigation of JFK's murder are numerous and wide-reaching. But for now, we need to return to his father, Prescott Bush. And it goes without saying that the elder Bush's role on the Senate Armed Services Committee put him at the highest echelons of power and represented his peak in political influence. If we assume that Allen Dulles had recruited Prescott's son, George, in the preceding years, it was time for Dulles to cash in on his retainer, now that Prescott was holding the levers of power over his coveted spy agency. Of course, Prescott Bush and Allen Dulles were largely aligned ideologically, but the spymaster knew that additional control never hurt. On April 10, 1953, only 2 months after taking the head job at the agency, Allen Dulles convened a meeting with Neil Mallon, the president of Dresser Industries, and his star new recruit, one George H.W. Bush, to discuss a quote-unquote pilot project in the Caribbean. Coincidentally, or maybe not so coincidentally, a couple of weeks earlier, the young George Bush and partners would found Zapata Petroleum in Midland, Texas. He was 29 years old and had no previous experience in oil exploitation. Thank you all, as always, for watching. And if you're watching this on the day of the release in 9 years old and had no previous. Bush and partners would found Zapata Petroleum in Midland, Texas. He was 29 years old and had no previous experience in oil exploitation.
Who does that remind you of? Who was young as hell? Who was young as hell and got put on the Senate? Actually, they are known as the youngest person ever to be on the Senate, or youngest put on the Senate ever. Joe Biden. Joe Biden's the youngest that was put on the Senate. So he's the youngest of an oil firm, and he's never ran anything. He doesn't even have oil running, oil firms, oil nothing. But he's just placed on there. Before I get up, I just want to show you something. Just real quick. And then we out. That's George Bush Sr. with Robert Byrd.
Man of what he believes to be reality.
It's Joe Biden with Robert Byrd.
There is a dark side.
That it was somebody else who did it. When you can see the deep state right in your face, and it's all leading back. There's some rhinos. There's some deep states over there. The whole point of the right didn't have really nothing to do with this. The Yankees did. And we should know who those are. Goes.